Welcome back to the Rose Garden. It is August 8th, 2026, and it has been a really hot week here in Victoria, and the plants have needed a lot of extra watering this week, but I'm really excited to show you that there's already some new blooms that are coming compared to last week, and the bees are still really active in the garden. The one thing that I've really noticed this week is that we're really just starting to see quite a lot of spots of black spot and powdery mildew. So after I show you the roses, what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix up some potassium bicarbonate, and that is a natural antifungal, and I'll show you how to do that. And I'm also excited to tell you that Zepherine Druin over in her timeout area is already showing some blooms for us. So that was really exciting news. So let's get to it and take a look around the garden. We're starting at this end of the garden with Iceberg, and Iceberg has got some new flush of blooms that are coming, and you can see how pretty her beautiful pure white blooms are. And she's got a lot of new growth. I'm going to get to training her longer canes up onto the wires, but I'm going to let her just grow for a little bit. Dylan has looked fantastic this week, and I have done a little bit of deadheading, but I've just never seen so many blooms on a single stem. Like, this entire amount of roses is on that single stem, and there's no flopping. Dylan is such a strong rose. So gorgeous. Really impressed with Dylan. And Gemini is looking super pretty as well. Gemini has got a very watercolor effect. So pretty. So Gemini was worth waiting for. She was the slowest to bloom. And Golden Opportunity is looking really pretty. And Harlow Carr, we noticed all of Harlow Carr's buds last week, and now they're gonna flower in the next few days. She's really pretty and really delicate and fragrant. And Royal City is looking so good. Royal City is also a gel bear rose that is really, really, really strong and holds a lot of blooms on just a few strong stems. I'm really, really happy with this rose. Now, Eden Climber, this is the rose that I got from Anita, and I have been checking her water, and she got some rage last week or the week before, and you know, I'm very, I don't know how to say I'm very worried. I'm somewhat worried about her because I've still not seen any new growth coming. And when I do see what I think is new growth, it kind of crinkles off. So I hope it's still just transplant shock. And I hope that she'll come back for us next year. Here's Laguna. Laguna's got some really pretty blooms. And I was able to train this cane across here. This water feature is really spraying everything everywhere, isn't it? Beverly Ann Clay is really, really tall. Beverly Ann Clay must be 4 feet tall now, so she's just going to spread out. And last week I talked about putting an evergreen behind here, but I went to Garden Works, and the price of a golden cypress similar to the ones I have was absolutely prohibitive. It was over $200, and I'm just not prepared to spend that kind of money on something that's not a rose. So I think I'm going to leave that area blank for the time being, and because I don't know how big Beverly Ann is actually going to get in terms of width, so I don't want to cram things in too much. Crown Princess Margaretta had a great showing last week, and is now just, these are the end of these blooms, but still looks so pretty. And she's going to give us some more here. She's a very vigorous David Austin climber. And Rosanna with her shiny leaves. Although Rosanna's starting to get some black spot. I don't know what that is. Looks like black spot to me, but look at, yeah. Rosanna's even starting to get some black spot, and she has really shiny leaves. So I think it's the humidity. Rosanna's got lots of gorgeous blooms at the bottom, lots of gorgeous blooms up to the top. And then we saw last time that she's reached the top of the side of the pergola. Eustacia Vi, very fragrant and pretty Austin rose. But you know, her leaves are, her petals are just tumbling down. And we again are hoping that our other Eustacia Vi is going to survive. Back in behind here, we have our original Eden Climber White, who was moved within the garden, and she's actually doing amazingly well. She's got new growth that she's putting on. She's going to be giving us a bloom up here at the top in not too long of a time, and I'm really happy with her. And then that's the new clematis that I got last week. And I wasn't sure if ebb tide was going to give us another flush this season, but it looks like ebb tide is starting to put on some buds and some new growth back here. You can see that. So I'm really excited about that. Now, Fragrant Cloud and Secret here. Last night I came out and I defoliated a lot of these because they were really, really affected by fungus. There was a lot of black spot and there was a lot of powdery mildew. So it's good timing that I've decided to figure out about the potassium bicarbonate, because my over-the-counter safer spray clearly is not cutting it. So I love Fragrant Cloud's color though. It's such a beautiful kind of like coral red. And Sweet Mademoiselle did some deadheading this week, so she's got some fresh new blooms for us. But you can see I had to defoliate her too because there was a lot of disease. But Sweet Mademoiselle is looking gorgeous. I'm starting to rethink these obelisks because it's just going to be such a big effort to train them on the side. So I don't know if I'm going to move them eventually. Maybe I'll use them next year in some other fashion. Sterling Silver had a big showing this week, but her blooms looked really strange, and I don't know if it was from all the antifungal, but I deadheaded those, and she's also going to be a recipient of the potassium bicarbonate. Lady of Shalott is similar to Eden Climber, again from Anita's garden, and was a very, very big rose, and I'm not seeing any new growth on her, but she's not showing active signs of dying, so I'm just going to keep my fingers crossed and keep watering her, keep an eye on her. And Queen Mary 2 is showing already some new growth coming up from the cuts that we made last week or the week before. So as predicted, the new growth is coming right from the area between the 5-sided leaflet and the cane. So as predicted. And Westerland has a bloom for us that came out a couple days ago and is already spent, but Westerland is getting a lot of black spot. And here's Love's Promise. Love's Promise put up a bloom for us this week, and I think this was the first time I noticed that Love's Promise was having a bit of powdery mildew, but she's putting on a lot of new growth, and so she's going to have a lot of blossoms coming up in the next few weeks. Secrets Out is another one that I'm pretty worried about. Again, this is a weird spot here that doesn't get sprayed very well through the sprinkler system, so that's why this Nepeta compared to that Nepeta is looking really weak. And then Claire Austin, I've checked her water and I don't know why she's so yellow on the bottom. I don't know if she did get dried out, but I have been watering her and I've been checking her moisture with the moisture meter, and it looks like it's okay. But again, remembering that these guys got moved not too long ago. Strike It Rich is doing great. One of the big stars of the garden, putting on lots of new growth and got some new blooms for us too this week. And here's again the agapanthus that I planted last week, so they're settling in okay. William P.J. McCarthy has powdery mildew. Oh, look at that. That's real powdery mildew. Let me show you that. It's right on the stem. So, yeah, I'm gonna get some potassium bicarbonate. And Olivia Rose Austin looks really healthy again for a transplanted rose. She's doing great. The Pope has got a ton of blossoms right now. Really, really a lot. It smells so good. So what I've been doing for deadheading them is I just haven't been taking them right to the bottom. I've just been kind of cutting them at a 3 leaflet because I don't want to destroy the shape of these standard tree roses. So Marilyn Monroe is gathering her strength and oh wow, she's already got another bud here and she's putting on some new growth. Golden Celebration had a really big week and she's got a lot of really pretty blooms. Actually, these are the ones that I cut for my friend last week and they looked so pretty. And Gertrude G. Cole, oh, she's going to be having her flower soon. That's great to see. And Princess Alexandra, again, fully showing new growth and has a bud here. So happy with these two, which I was worried about a couple weeks ago. So let me take you over to see Zephyrin in the shade garden. So here's Zephyrin. She's got her little patch of sunshine here in the shade garden. And look at her. She's got a beautiful fragrant blossom here and up here. And she is also covered in powdery mildew. But we know that about her and that's why she got moved. So I think it's a little too hot for this hydrangea in this corner. So I think I'm gonna have to move her somewhere else. It's just, I think the afternoon sun is just kind of scorching her a bit. So I'm going to show you how to mix up potassium bicarbonate, and I'm actually not going to apply the potassium bicarbonate until tonight because there was something I read that if you apply it to the roses in the heat of the summer day, it could actually cause leaf scorch. So I'll prepare it and then apply it later tonight. So I'm getting all my supplies together for making up this potassium bicarbonate solution. And what I've got is some measuring spoons. I've got an empty gallon of milk bottle. I've got some dishwashing detergent. I've chosen an all-natural one. And I've got the powdered potassium bicarbonate. Now, I have read that if you add something called chitosan, which I believe is some type of ground up marine byproduct, it can make it more effective, but I don't know where to get that, and I've looked a lot of places. So, but potassium bicarbonate is a contact organic fungicide that can prevent and cure powdery mildew, black spot, and other types of leaf fungi. And how it works is it raises the surface pH and it creates an osmotic imbalance and dehydrates the fungal cell walls. And so the good thing about using potassium bicarbonate instead of sodium bicarbonate is that potassium is actually an element that is beneficial to plants, whereas sodium bicarbonate, which is just regular baking soda, causes potential sodium buildup in the soil and on the plant, which is potentially detrimental. I filled this up, so this is approximately 3.8 liters or 1 gallon, and we're going to use 1 tablespoon of potassium bicarbonate. And then we're going to use half a teaspoon of the liquid soap. And the purpose of the liquid soap is to act as a surfactant so that it will help the spray stick to the foliage. So we're going to add half a teaspoon to this. And then what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to shake it up really, really well. And I've got this spray bottle, which makes a really nice fine spray, and it's actually rechargeable and it's motorized. And so I'm going to use this when I do my application later on today. So it's almost 6 here in the rose garden, and I felt that the sun had come off the roses enough that I could start applying my potassium bicarbonate. And so I'm just going to show you this sprayer. I got this from Canadian Tire, I think. And so it does have a rechargeable thing, but it's a nice fine spray. And so, and this is about 1/3 of the mixture that I made up. So I think so I'm doing it until the leaves are dripping wet, and I'm trying to get both the underside and the top side of all the leaves. So this is, I think, both preventive and also a treatment, because we figured out how it works. So I'm going to finish up with these roses and then I'll get back to you. So I've used the whole gallon up, and I still have 4 or 5 more roses to do. And the other good thing about this is that I can use it on some of the other plants in my garden that are struggling with some fungal stuff. And I've got 2 azaleas and a tree in my front yard. So I'm going to go make some more and spray everything else. I got everybody sprayed, and I really hope that this potassium bicarbonate works, because it's so much better than sulfur, because it's completely colorless. It does not leave a white powder or anything on the leaves. So I think that's fantastic. You know, when I was at David Austin in May, they do have a horticultural spray that they spray, I think, weekly on their roses. And the gardener that I was speaking to there said he didn't really know what was in it. But I do wonder if perhaps they do have this in their mix. You know, the other thing this week is that I've seen, I saw one little sawfly larvae, and I've seen some holes in the leaves. So I do think the sawfly is back, but not nearly as bad as it was earlier in the spring. So I'm going to keep an eye out for that. But I wonder if I could mix the potassium bicarbonate and a little bit of that insecticide together. I'd have to see if those would work together chemically. So anyways, we are going on holidays, and I'm not going to be back until August 18th. And so the next episode of Rose Garden Diaries will be about a week late, or possibly maybe not quite a week late, but 10 days later than expected. I usually do them on Sundays. I hope you still tune in when I get back from holidays. I did make a little clipboard binder for our dog sitters to show them how to water the rose garden and everything that needs watering and instructions. I did not ask them to deadhead the roses because I think that's a lot to ask, but I think the roses will be okay if we leave them for 10 days or so without being deadheaded. Usually I'm deadheading about every 5 days or so. So anyways, it's been a beautiful week here in the rose garden, and I'm so pleased that it's August and we're still getting so many blooms, and I hope everybody has a great week.